So you want to be a better scrum half in rugby. Now you've come to the right place and you've clicked on the right video, because today I'm going to be giving you some of my most important tips and pieces of advice for scrum halves out there, and hopefully you can take away something useful from this video and apply it to your own game. My name's Hassan and I've created this series on YouTube where I'm going through every single rugby position on the pitch and giving my own personal advice and a few pointers which you players watching this video can hopefully take away and apply to your own game. So if this series is useful to you, please let me know. Leave a comment or like the video, as it is really useful for me to know that I'm making a meaningful impact. And with that being said, guys, I've got a few pointers on this piece of paper which I'm going to be going to discuss with you on this video. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. So the first pointer that I have written down on my piece of paper is communication. Now for a scrum half, I think it's really important to have good communication skills. Not only because you're constantly involved in the game, you're constantly moving around the field, but the fact that you can almost conduct and decide how fast or how slow your team plays in attack. It's really important that you communicate and let your thoughts be displayed to the rest of your teammates, because if your teammates know your thought process and what you're seeing as a scrum half, they're going to be able to react and perform a lot better based off that information. I think it's really important as well defensively as well, because a scrum half can often be seen as the smallest player on the field. In most teams that's likely the case, but if you're able to use your voice and use that as a way of asserting your presence on the field, I think it's not only going to give you a lot of confidence as an individual, but it's also going to give a lot of confidence in your teammates as well, and it's only going to make life a lot easier for you and your teammates on the field. The next thing I have is the speed of your passing. Now obviously a scrum half's main job is passing and distribution, especially from breakdowns. Now I'd say for scrum halves majority out there, I'd say it's more important to focus on the speed of your pass rather than how fancy it looks, because how fast you can pass the ball is going to ultimately determine how effective your team's attack will be. If you're able to have really good accuracy and have a really fancy looking pass, but it's really slow and it's really loopy in the air, it's gonna put your team on the back foot, to be honest, because by the time the balls arrive to the next player, normally it's the 10 most typically. If it comes to the fly half and it's took a long time for it to get there, he's gonna have the defensive line right in his face, and it's going to make his job a lot harder to distribute the ball out to the centres and the wingers. So I think it's really important to focus on the speed of your passing. In training, work a lot on both hands, making sure that you're practicing on both, because you don't know what positions you're going to be getting into the field, and it's really important that you've got nice speed of passing coming from both hands. But also work on your accuracy as well, and work on different scenarios, rooks, scrums, lineouts. It's really important that you're familiar with all different kind of situations and scenarios that you're going to be in, so then when it comes to game time, it's going to be like second nature to you and you could do it with your eyes closed. The next thing I've got is keeping players honest. Now in attack, a lot of the time you're going to be in a position where you're going to have one or two players on the opposition guarding and sealing off the rook, so that you can't just tap and go and pick off a short gap within the defensive line. But more often than not, especially in the younger age groups, these players who are guarding the rook tend to get very lazy, and they don't stay switched on as the game progresses, especially. And as a 9, if you're able to spot a gap in the immediate breakdown where the two players are guarding the rook, if you're able to penetrate that, just do it, because it's going to create one of two things. It's either going to exploit a gap within their immediate defense, and you're going to be able to gain some valuable meters and maybe even score a try, or it's going to keep those two players on that. They're going to be alerted, and they're going to take a lot of caution when the next rook comes around, making sure that they secure it with more times than not 2 men, and that is therefore going to create a nice overlap somewhere in the outfield, in the open side, where your other teammates can exploit that gap. So either way, if you're able to keep the guards around the rook honest and making sure that they're paying attention and staying glued into that rook, it's going to create a scoring opportunity or an opportunity to break the line somewhere along the pitch, whether it's directly by the ruck or if it's out in the field of play. And then the last thing I've got is the fact that you, as a scrum half, can be a defensive sweeper in defence. Now, what I mean by this is you're able to freely travel along the whole defensive line and honestly just stay mobile. And with this, it gives you a great opportunity to communicate with your teammates as to what's happening. You can communicate with your fullback as well to see what they're saying in terms of what the opposing team might be looking to do in terms of their next attacking phase. And you're also able to be an additional layer of defense. Now, I think it's really important for a 9, not only to be good at their passing, their distribution and the kicking, but I think it's really good to have a number 9 who's got a really good defensive aspect to their game. By this, I mean being able to get down and dirty when they need to, making those really important hits, and even more so in defense when the opposition player might have broke the line. If you're able to really put in a physical shot and stop them in their tracks, it's going to really set the tone and really send a message to the opposition that you guys mean business. And as a scrum half, I think that'll give you a lot of confidence as well in your own game. So really make sure you're being active, you're not staying still, because I think scrum half probably covers the most amount of distance in a rugby game. You're constantly moving from phase to phase, and in defence you're constantly moving, constantly scanning, and you're constantly talking as well. So it's a very active role on the pitch, and you have a lot of responsibility as well. So hopefully guys, you can take away something that I've said in today's video and apply it to your own game, and hopefully it will allow you to become a better scrum half. Now, with that being said, I'd just like to thank you for watching the entire video if you've made it up until this point. And if you did find it useful, once again, please do leave a thumbs up, as it means a lot to me and I understand that I'm doing a good job. And with that being said, guys, thank you once again for watching this video, and I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you.